CNN is still trying to sort through this Joe Rogan situation, and they put out a tweet yesterday. It says, Joe Rogan is one of the most popular podcast hosts in the world, despite a series of controversies. CNN Business spoke with a researcher who has studied his appeal to explain why his audience loves him. And so they've brought in a researcher to figure out why do people like Joe Rogan so much. And here's what they came up with. Watch this.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Joe Rogan hosts one of the most popular podcasts in the world.
I'm not an anti-vax person.
Right. But despite his claims, he's used his platform to make false and inaccurate statements about COVID-19 and vaccines.
If you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, I don't think you need to worry about this.
He's also used racist and offensive language.
We get out and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude.
Even with these controversies, Rogan remains wildly popular. So the question is, why?
I've probably spent hundreds of hours listening to Joe Rogan. Yeah, no, easily hundreds of hours.
Gabriel Wisniewski Parks is a research fellow at UNC Greensboro who has studied Rogan's appeal.
What makes him so magnetic to his audience is his very vocal resistance to tribalism. This is somebody who can have on his podcast Ben Shapiro and Alex Jones and have deep and interesting, meaningful conversations with them. And then in the one other breath, he can have on Cornel West and Bernie Sanders and do the exact same thing. And this really resonates with people. And one other connection we can make that I don't think should be overestimated is Joe Rogan's background as a stand-up comedian, this archetype of the comedian as the truth teller.
Of course, they had to bring this dork in there to research and find out, because CNN they are absolutely stumped. They don't understand how to get people to watch things, obviously, because they only have 5 viewers, and so they're looking at Joe Rogan, and we know there's a lot of envy that plays into it, but they also are sort of interested from a scientific perspective, trying to figure, how does this guy do this? And so they have to bring in a Joe Rogan researcher to tell them. And what are his findings? Well, he's funny. People like funny things, and people like comedians. They like to laugh. So we needed a PhD candidate. We needed to bring him in. He needed to spend hundreds of hours researching. I would love, by the way, to be a fly on the wall watching as that researcher is, listening to Joe Rogan, subjecting himself into it, to it in order to research it. Just crying, probably sobbing uncontrollably at everything that he's hearing. That'd be fantastic. But after all of his research, he's discovered that people like to laugh. Wow. And also, people like to hear, different interesting conversations, and they like to hear from different sorts of people. I could have told you that without listening to any Joe Rogan at all. And whatever you're paying your Rogan researcher, you can pay me half of that, and I'll listen to Joe Rogan's podcast and give you similar insights. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.